ahead and start the
There you go.
recording in progress. Okay. Mhm.
We ready to kick it off?
Okay, ready to start. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's time to start the meeting. Let me invite our pinch hitting president to the lectern to start the meeting, and that's me. Or better yet, let me lateral that to Clay. You're acting president, pinch hitting president.
I am.
Right, and then I'll be the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dr. Wade. I will jump in. My name is Crowe. Some of you might have seen me once or twice, but I have been out of action. I am the Vice President of Education, and I'm very grateful to have been allowed to stay Vice President of Education since I've been away so long. I took on the challenge of moving out of California to Oklahoma over the last few months. We left at the end of September, and it took 2 months to get into the house that we're in now. We were in motels and sleeping on people's couches, but it's always a challenge. Nothing good is ever easy. When you're trying to achieve something, it's always a lot of hard work. But welcome to Vision Masters Toastmasters meeting tonight. And let me introduce our Toastmaster for the evening, Dr. Wade Cartwright. Please welcome him.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is going to be a short meeting this evening. Do we have a theme? What's our theme? What's your vision? Well, my vision is that Toastmasters will thrive. My vision is that we will all become better speakers and better leaders, and that my vision is that Clay will continue to be with us part-time, and maybe he wants to find a club there part-time too. But anyway, that's more of a wish than a vision. So having said that, let me bring on our general evaluator. I think Michael Pruett is our general evaluator, right?
I am.
Well, take it away, Michael.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. General Evaluator, I want to introduce our evaluation team. And on our team right now, we have a timer to keep track of the times, make sure we go to the right times. And I will be also the timer. And so what I will do is I will time the speeches, the evaluations, and the table topics, prepared speeches and table topic speeches. The prepared speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, you will see the green card. At 6 minutes, you'll see the yellow. And at 7 minutes, you'll see the red. And that's for the 5 to 7 minute speech. For an impromptu speech, the goal is to keep speaking for at least 1 minute. And at 1 minute, you will see the green, 1 minute, 30 seconds, you will see the yellow, and 2 minutes, you will see the red. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, you'll see the green. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you'll see the yellow. And at 3 minutes, you'll see the red. And then you have 30 minutes to wrap it up. So that is the introduction for the timer. Now, let's see. Do we have an all-counter grammarian? I don't think we do. we have one. Do we have one? I don't see one on the agenda. Oh, wait a minute, Bruce Taylor. Okay, he's not here. So I guess we won't have an
Mike,
counter of Grammarian.
I can do it, Mike. I can do it, except for I won't be able to do my own speech. If somebody wants to do me, that would be great.
Okay, so can you keep track of uhs and ums and ers and
Yes.
filler words and also who uses the word of the day? Stretch. Is this going to be a stretch for you?
You got it. No, not at all. I got it.
That's how we grow,
make it
right?
work.
As we grow by stretching. Okay, and then we will also have 3 evaluators for our first speaker, Clay. I will be his evaluator. And for our second speaker, who is Michelle, Clay will be her evaluator. Is that right? And for our, let's see, yeah, and for our third speaker, who is Hank, Michelle will be his evaluator. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. Let's get on with our meeting and let me introduce our first speaker, Clay. I don't have an introduction for Clay, but let me say that he has been a very instrumental person in this club for 3 to 4 years. And he has recently been our area director, and I think he has been a division director also. And he is trying to leave us, escaping to Oklahoma, but we're going to hold on to him as much as we can. So having said this, said that, also let me say that he has completed motivational strategies through level 5. He recently has an MIA. What's an MIA?
Missing in action.
Okay, from Toastmasters. Okay, Clay, take it away with your speech. Is titled Toastmasters Laboratory. Toastmasters Laboratory, Clay, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Toastmasters, fellow Vision Masters, what world do you live in? Really? What world do you live in? Or let me rephrase the question, what world do you want to live in? Maybe that's the better question. Every day I go out and interact with society, I'm confronted with people who tell me it can't be done. Have you heard that before? It can't be done. I just completed my model, my Lego model of a space shuttle. It reminded me of 2003, when Columbia was damaged on takeoff, and NASA had to decide, do we tell them? Do we try to fix it? Do we try to rescue them? And somebody at NASA decided it can't be done. They let that orbiter come down and lost 7 astronauts horribly because they didn't believe any of the alternatives could be done. I don't want to live in that world. I have a feeling maybe some of you don't either. I live in the world of it can be done. I want to tell you, Toastmasters is the greatest laboratory designed to let you experiment and find your way, to let you experiment and fail and learn from it and pick up and move on. It is a fantastic laboratory and training ground for everyone because there is no ultimate failure. There is simply the opportunity to do it better next time. Right? How many of you have ever felt, experienced, or heard of imposter syndrome? As we go through our professional lives, sometimes we're presented with an opportunity to jump in and do something, but we say, wait a minute, I don't have any experience with that. Maybe I'm not what they think I am. You know what? This is a great place to get over imposter syndrome. This is the place to get past it. Because Toastmasters gives you the opportunity to try it on for size, right? They give you the chance to try it on for size and say, you know what? I'm not an imposter. I've done this. I did this in front of my club. I did this in front of the district. We're entering a really exciting time right now with Toastmasters. This is the time of year the speech contests and evaluation contests are coming up. We have, right? Who's going to get in the speech contest? There you go. Fantastic. Anyone else? All right, go ahead, turn on your cameras, guys, and turn on your microphones. I like to interact with the audience. I'm not afraid
Thank
of
you.
strange noises. There you go. I'm not afraid of strange noises. Bring it on. This is the time of year. Thank you. And we're coming into TLI. How many know what TLI is? Toastmasters Leadership Institute. It's a training ground for leaders. It is where we train our club officers. A few minutes ago, I introduced myself as the VP, Vice President of Education for this club. And I don't know if everyone knew that because I've been away so long. I'm very sorry. But we have officers that handle different aspects of club operation. VP of Education is a very important role because it helps everybody move through the education program and sign off on education awards. Hank Cartwright just completed a level this week, and I got the notice on my email, and I went into Club Central on the computer system for Toastmasters International and approved his level completion. That's how this works. That's what this is about. And I wanted to address this a little bit and make sure everybody knows how to do that online. Is everybody using Pathways at this point? All right, everybody's using Pathways. Anybody have any problems with Pathways?
A little bit.
Okay, I'd like to do some Q&A at the end of the presentation. But first of all, I want to take some time to do a little screen share. And let's see if I can get into that. Now it has to bring that up. Let's see here. What's this? What is this? And now I lost everything. Okay, let's see. I had it all set up.
Whoa.
No, that's not what I want. Forgive me, guys. I had it all set up and it just timed itself out. So let's try it again here. Now I got to log in all over again. Okay, forgive me for the pause. It is not coming up. It is not coming up. Here we go. Mike's holding the red card up on me already. This is maddening. The reason I bring up the speech contests, does everyone know that you have to have completed a level 2 to be eligible for the contest? Okay. All right. So everybody's just about there. All right. So you start through the program. It looks like this. Your assignment. Gives you an introduction to it. Gives you the assignment. Your skills before. I always try to assess my skills a little low because I don't know everything. I am not at that level that I know everything. And then it goes through each one of these, and you read through these. It gives you all of this. But what I want to get to, what I lost before. So you write your speech, you do your speech or evaluation, whatever the assignment is. And then you get to assess your skills after. So this is after your speech or evaluation is given. And then you click through these and give yourself a score that you think you've earned. And at this point, you've clicked all the way through it. It says, congratulations, you've completed this project. You must click all the way to this particular page, to this particular ending, and then it will send the notification out automatically to the VP of Education so that I can see it and approve it. Okay? So I want to make sure that everybody sees that and knows how that works. Now, does anybody have any questions about how that works and pathways in general? Anyone? No questions? Everybody enjoying pathways?
Oh, I do have a question.
Yes.
When you get to the end and you're clicking through it, I didn't see you select a number on your assessment. You have to click, you have to select a number as you're going through and doing all the assessment questions.
Yes, you should be selecting your own number. You want to evaluate yourself in assessing your skills after. Did you feel like you learned at a level of a 4 or at a 5? Usually the skills before, I'm using 1 or 2 or 3 because I don't feel that confident with it. And what it's really doing, it's asking you, where's your confidence level with it before the exercise? And where's your confidence level with it after the exercise? So that's something that only the individual can decide for themselves.
Yeah. And in order
Okay,
to get,
so yes, I clicked through it rapidly, but the individual doing the exercise would be choosing a number on that scale.
and in
Yes.
order to get credit for your speech, you need to do the before assessment and the after assessment, both of them. Before you get, before the software will give you credit for the speech.
Right,
Okay.
right. You want to be choosing those numbers. Thank you, Mike. Yes, you want to be choosing those numbers and assessing your own evaluation. Yes, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. I was trying to find the little hand gesture thing. For me, I am definitely very serious about this contest. So is there anything that I have to do? I know that tonight I'll be completing 1 and I've already completed 2. So I have that done, but is there something I have to do inside of Pathways to notify that in order to make sure that that is done in the computer somewhere that maybe I need to work on with Cynthia? I see her going,
I don't know of anything else that has to be completed.
You have to complete everything in Basecamp on Toastmasters.org Basecamp. And you have to tick and tie everything, make sure your icebreaker and all your projects are ticked off for level 1. And then you'll see level completion, and it should say pending approval. And if it says pending approval, you're good.
Yeah, you need to get a completion certificate for each of those levels to prove you finished it. And Clay is the one that's going to be the key to that. He's the one
Okay,
that
Clay.
does the approval.
I'm going to put my phone number in the captions and you call me because we need to get this finished because that is like my goal.
Yeah.
great.
Once you have
That's
the
a
completion-
great way
have
to
a
approach it.
level
And I would say
completion
that to
certificate,
anyone
that's
else as
proof you've
well.
done both
If
levels.
what's that, Mike?
If she has, once she has the level completion certificate, that's her proof that she's finished both levels.
But it has to say pending approval on Basecamp. And that means that the VPE has been notified and can approve it. And then they have to submit it in Club Central. And then you will be eligible to compete.
Yeah, and when it'll eventually say, click here to see your certificate when it's done.
Right, right. So let me put it this way. If you're getting ready to compete and you think there might be any issue with the completion level, let me know. I will work with you to get that completion level where it's supposed to be so that you're completely eligible and there's no question about it. Okay? That's the point of what I'm talking about tonight, is so that everyone who does want to compete in the club contest and beyond, all right, has their completion level of level 2 all set and in stone. Okay. let me know. I'll tell you what, I'll leave my phone number in the chat as well. I see a lot of faces that came in during this last few minutes. Alex, welcome. Who we have? Sashiraj, welcome. Kuang, a lot of folks. Are there any other questions on how contests
Solomon's
work?
here.
No other questions? Oh, come on.
You should go back because we need to end on time tonight.
All right, if that's it, I'm going to put my phone number in the chat and my email, and let me know whatever other things come up. Make sure we get to the level two completion, so that you have everything all set for the contest. Have we set a date for the contest yet?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, my name is Solomon Wilkins. This is my first day attending. I don't want to jump the gun, but what's the contest?
We hold speech contests this time of year in
Okay.
Toastmasters at the club level.
Got it.
Speakers will put together a 5 to 7 minute speech, and there's evaluation contests where an evaluator will compete, putting together a 2 to 3 minute evaluation for another speaker. Those contests are coming up at the end of January and early February. Then the area contests for the larger area of clubs begins in February, and then the division contest will be taking place in March. And it's a very exciting thing to be competing through these contests all the way to district level and maybe even international level. And I welcome
And how do you
to join it
and how do you get involved?
by being a Toastmaster. Are you a member of a club?
I am not. I attended a meeting last week in Oakley, and I was invited to attend today in Oakland. I'm from Oakland, and so that is what I'm excited about. And I just, want to learn more about the opportunity.
Absolutely. Let's get you signed up. Can you leave your contact information in the chat for us, please?
I will do that.
All right.
It was great to meet you.
All right.
Glad
That
you
is
could
going to be
make
my
it,
last
Solomon.
question I'm going to take tonight. All right. We're going to look for the contact information. I'll leave mine in there as well. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Clay, for that wonderful speech and that wonderful question and answers. So let's take 60 seconds and give Clay some feedback. Give him some love in chat. 60 seconds. Is that 60 seconds or
Almost.
almost? Okay.
Time.
Thank you so much. Onward with our meeting. Our next speaker is going to be Michelle Waufle, and her evaluator is going to give her purpose. Who's evaluating Michelle?
Play.
Clay.
Clay,
Okay.
What's that?
you evaluating me, my friend?
forgive me, I can hardly hear anyone. I'm having a terrible audio problem on this end. If that's what I'm supposed to be doing, I can hardly hear.
Can you hear me now?
Just barely. It sounds like you're about 2 rooms away.
Okay. I'll be loud.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about your speech.
Hello, I am Michelle Waufle, and tonight my speech is that every single thing that you want, you already have. So shh, just quiet down for a moment. I want you to quiet down and close your eyes. And while you close your eyes, I want you to bring yourself to the best moment of your life. I want you to think about when you were most motivated, when you were most touched in your heart. What brought you the most happiness? That moment. And you know what I love about that moment is when anybody ever brings themselves to that moment, they always have a smile on their face. You see, repetition is the law of learning, and that backdates to 3000 BC. We are like human computers. Whatever we download becomes a part of our daily. Most of us sit and just want, but we fail to bring ourselves to that frequency of already being there. Most of the time, this just takes a simple decision, a decision that will really just transform you into that mind space. And the more we practice, the more we get there. The more we experience it, the more we get there. And that all comes from the emotion. The emotions that we felt just a second ago with our eyes closed. Maybe it's not something in regards to feeling really happy or motivated that it is that you want, but maybe it is something else. And it's really being able to bring yourself into that frequency. One of the best places to do that is your imagination. When I say repetition is the law of learning, it is about practicing it and bringing yourself there over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. The more you embody that whole entire feeling, you're getting closer and closer to just stepping into it 100%. We are so incredibly powerful. And that's what I mean about everything that you want, you already have. You just have to put it into practice. That repetition. I always say, whatever it is that you don't want, just keep putting it into the trash bin of your mind and press that empty button. And then download whatever it is that you want by practicing and using your imagination. You see, when we were kids, we would be whatever it is we wanted. I remember wanting to be an astronaut on the space shuttle, watching Space Camp. I wanted to be in class with the Karate Kid. I could literally bring myself there or pretend and make it a reality. With all of our personal goals and all of our personal admirations, we can do that on a daily basis, even when we're in the worst day of our life. What do I mean by that? Again, repetition is the law of learning, backdating. How many times are you repeating that stuff inside your mind that is not serving you? How many times are you attaching yourself over and over and over again in that repetition of stuff that you don't want, bringing your vibration lower? When we become aware of this and we have an understanding about it, we can get really clear and make an effortless, easy transition by practicing, by bringing yourself to that higher frequency on a regular basis. Is it God that you have a very, very strong connection to? Because you can actually bring yourself in alignment with that. You see, you're the driver behind all of this. It's up to you to bring yourself up to that frequency every single day. It's up to you to make a decision to make this happen for yourself. The more you practice it, the more it becomes. The more you feel it, you're stepping into it. Our emotional body attached with our belief system is absolutely unstoppable. And when we get to the point where we can practice this and feel it completely on an emotional level and on a mental level and on a physical level, we're literally stepping in to exactly what it is that we want, making a decision to use the tools that we were born with. What are you downloading? What's around you? What does your music sound like? What are the television shows that you are watching? Who are you hanging out with? What is surrounding you each and every day to bring you to the vibration that you are? Are you aligning yourself with exactly what it is that you want? Or is there something inside of you that's standing in the way? Remember, all it takes is just your imagination, and you're unstoppable. Thank you so much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Michelle, for that very inspirational speech. Let's take 60 seconds to give Michelle some feedback and give her some love too.
Hmm. Time.
Time is up. Onward with the meeting. It's going to be a hard time to follow up these great speeches, but let's bring on our next speaker. Our next speaker is the one and the only Hank Cartwright. Hank's evaluator is Clay, I do believe. So Clay, do you have?
Michelle is going to evaluate Hank.
Yeah,
Oh,
Hank's gonna give a speech.
Michelle, okay, great. Michelle, do you have Hank's papers?
I do, I believe. Hank Cartwright is in Pathways Collaboration Connecting with Storytelling. It's a 5 to 7 minute speech. Tales from an ICU nurse during COVID. Mr. Hank Cartwright. Tales from an ICU nurse during COVID.
Take it away, Hank.
Hi, I'm Hank. I'm going to talk about some of my experience as an ICU nurse during the COVID-19 pandemic, and also talk a little bit about some of the leadership styles that I saw that helped us to manage and solve some of these problems that we had never seen before. Some examples include I used a more democratic style where I invited people, other staff and nurses to give input so we could try to collaborate and figure out problems. But also there was a lot of information coming from our management, from the administrators, and I described that as more of a bureaucratic style because all of the directions and plans were coming one way, and we had to basically we would just do what we would just get the current updates about what was happening that day, and we would just go with it. And then but also I'd say in the future I'd like to adopt a coaching style where I can help to start to encourage some of the less experienced nurses as they progress along their career. But so I'm pretty sure all of you remember some of the things that we used to do to during COVID. Raise your hand if you remember spraying packages with disinfectant, or maybe wiping down groceries, or perhaps singing the happy birthday song to yourself while you wash your hands to make sure that you're washing your hands long enough. But yeah, we did all kinds of things to try to stay safe. But in spite of all our efforts, nearly 350 or around 350,000 deaths occurred because of COVID, according to the CDC in 2020. And that includes a 17% increase in accidental and unintentional deaths. And also a 15% increase in diseases like diabetes. And so one thing that tells me is that, and then all of us, is that even if you never had a COVID infection, that you were infected, your life was affected by COVID in one way or another. And I remember watching reports of the spread initially in China, and as it spread around the world, and then eventually to my ICU near Detroit, Michigan. And I remember when the lockdown started, I was driving to work during rush hour, and I was the only car visible on the road. And it was one of the strangest things I had seen ever. And I remember looking around and not seeing a single other car, just me. And I felt like I was in that Will Smith movie where he was the last man alive, trying to figure out a cure for a plague that wiped out the humanity. And so it was a little bit surreal. And also, when I got to the hospital, I remember at first my ICU was not full of COVID patients at first. When the pandemic first hit, we had patients coming into the emergency department, and then they would eventually come to the regular floor, and then as they became sicker, they would eventually be intubated, meaning we would put a breathing tube into their lungs to help them breathe before hooking them up to a ventilator to bring them to the ICU. And so initially, I remember hearing over the PA system for calls for emergency intubations as it went anesthesia stat with intubation, room 4632, anesthesia stat with intubation, room 5178. And as there's every hour, I just heard that, and I knew that things were going to get worse before they got better. And within a week, my ICU went from no COVID patients to half full to completely full. And it felt like watching floodwaters rise. At first, the waters were ankle deep, and then waist deep, and then the water was neck high, and it kept rising, and to the point where we were starting to run out of masks, and we had to recycle masks and personal protective equipment to try to keep everyone safe. And during this time, I was impressed with some of the different styles of leadership that took place in order to try to manage all of these problems. For example, many of us used a democratic style, which is where you invite input from others, and you collaborate to try to figure out how we're going to take care of patients and manage some of these problems that we hadn't seen before. And then also there's a bureaucratic style, which happens when our administrators gave us daily updates about what we were going to do with all the excess patients, because once our ICUs were full, we had to start converting regular floor units into ICUs and sending ICU nurses to these other floors. And so it was not unusual for me to arrive to work and then immediately be sent to another floor to help out. And in that kind of a bureaucratic leadership situation, there's no dialogue and collaboration. You just have to go where you're needed. And so that's a different style. But finally, I'd say I would like to see myself in the future start adopting a more of a coaching style, which would help some of the less experienced nurses to develop their careers, and so I can help share some of my experiences and the things that I've learned with some upcoming healthcare professionals. And so that's all. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, thank you, Hank, for your speech. Let's take 60 seconds to give Hank an evaluation and some feedback on his speech. And thank you, Hank, for helping us to fill our agenda. And let's give Hank some love, too.
Time.
Thank you for that, Mike. And onward, let's do some table topics. Okay. All right.
Yes, I'm on, Wade.
Carry on.
Okay, great. So table topics, I like to start with a Toastmaster, and we don't have too many guests that are Toastmasters, but Alex is a guest and a Toastmaster. And Alex won the international speech competition on Monday for leaders worldwide. So let's give him a big round of applause. Woo-hoo! And he'll be going on to the area contest. It's a different area than Vision Masters, though. So you won't see him in competition until the division contest on March 28th.
I was scouting my competition. That's why I came by. No, I came to see if Cassandra was speaking, but I just heard that she was under the weather, so that's why.
He's under the weather. So my question is, what's your vision for the year? What is your stretch goal that you're going to use to grow? And maybe it's competition. If you would like to answer that question, please.
My goals for this year are to really focus on my health. I am in the process of trying to achieve my black belt, which I have about probably a year to go. Through that, the speech that I gave that you heard is part of that plan. Trying to keep me on task, trying to do that 1%. You know, coming here tonight was part of it as well. You know, trying to become a better speaker. And, you know, stretch goal is win the whole darn thing. Why not? You know, they asked me in the competition, why just decide to do the competition? And I said, to win. And that's why you do these things. Not to always win, but to stretch yourself. And I really believe, and as I told Cynthia when we were talking about this, win or lose, it's still why not? And when it comes to Toastmasters, we're here to speak. So if we're here to speak, we might as well try to be here every week to speak and to expand our repertoire, our tools, and have fun with it. Because if you're not a good speaker, or you're a very great auditor, is that the right word? You want to make sure that you're always getting those tools in your tool chest, so to speak. So back to you.
Great, thank you. Excellent response, and I love the way that you're focused on the competition, being more in competition with yourself and stretching yourself and achieving a higher level by using the competition. Excellent. We have a couple of guests, and I want to see if would any of you like to answer a table topic question for 1 to 2 minutes. Excuse me, Judy, would you like to answer a question?
I think Judy had to take off and leave because she had another Zoom tonight. She's just kind of getting a sneak peek at us, so I don't think she's on here anymore.
Huh?
Oh, there she is. She is.
I am, but you're right. I have to jump off. I just was enjoying listening, so maybe I can guest another time, but
Okay.
nice meeting everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. And how about Huang? Dr. Huang, would you like to answer a table topic question?
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. I would like to
So,
answer. Thank you for having me. So, what is the question?
there's
Please?
have an echo. Can you take
Can
it?
you hear me? Let me put the earphones.
Yeah,
Maybe.
earphones will help.
How about this now?
Yeah, much better. Much better. Great.
Okay, thank you.
So what is your vision for the year? What are your stretch goals? How are you going to stretch yourself to expand in 2024?
Wow, such interesting question, because I have several ambitions in the next coming year, like 2024. Because looking back 2023, I took a big improvement and risk for my life to resign my government job. So to teach for another university in Hanoi. So that's my big challenge in life. It was so competitive and challenging in my life. But finally, I could get through everything, all difficulties in my life. So now I get used to working here for next coming year. In 2024, I will focus on my learning journey, and especially gaining teaching experience overseas, because after 20 years of teaching for several universities in Vietnam here, I'm still craving for teaching abroad. So hopefully this year it's going to be achievable for me to apply for my project in another country. Actually, I have just submitted my document. I'm just waiting for their reply, and my process is going on. So I'm so happy to be here to talk with you and to share. But of course, with all of my limitations, I need to improve more. Thank you. Back to you.
Excellent. I love your stretch goals that you're sharing with us, that you want to teach abroad. Wow. I think that's a huge stretch. So that's wonderful. Solomon, would you like to answer a question? Maybe so.
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Solomon.
How you doing?
Great. What's your vision for 2024? What is your stretch goals so that you can expand yourself in 2020?
I have been a 9-to-5 corporate employee for the past 15, 16 years. And I have ventured into entrepreneurship full-time. So it's really scary, but I have my faith, I have my family, and with those two things, I'm confident that I am headed in the right direction. So my stretch goal for 2024 is to become a full-time entrepreneur with enough business to continue the lifestyle that we've created for our family. I'm also a husband with 4 children, 3 and 1 on the way. So I have an expanding family with lots of responsibility. I have a 20-year-old that's at Berkeley. He's a junior, majored in mechanical engineering. We have a 12-year-old. We have a 12-year-old girl, an 8-year-old boy, and my wife is pregnant now. And so I have a lot on my plate. But my goal is to just transition out of the corporate space into the consulting and speaking space full time. I've been speaking for a while. I just never really pursued it full time as my primary source of income. Now I'm on a mission to do that. And I'm here just to really just get more repetition and continue to speak on a consistent basis to get the opportunity to get in front of people and, deliver my message. I recently hired a business coach who I'm working with on a weekly basis to build my brand and to just help me move into the entrepreneurial space, which is scary because, again, I've been a 9-to-5 employee for a very long time. So those are the things that I am focused on, and I'm excited to be here.
Great. Awesome.
Oh, I think the last thing is I'm writing a new book, and I want to get that launched before the year is up. And I haven't even started it yet. So let's go for
to launch your business and especially a speaking career and your book is Toastmasters. You can write a 7-minute speech and it could turn into your first chapter. You could space out your speeches. I did that with a lot of my clients where they had to be a columnist and they had to write a magazine article every month. And they would practice it as a speech and then maybe even do a Q&A session and get some feedback, market research. So Toastmasters is a fabulous place for speaking and also for writing a book. So thank you. Thank you very much. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me, everybody? Onward with the evaluation aspect of our meeting. Our first speaker was Michael Pruett, And his evaluation, his evaluator is
Mike's
is
our actual evaluator and our first evaluator, but Clay was our first speaker.
okay. Clay and Michael. Okay, great, great. Michael, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Clay, I loved your speech. I loved your opening lines. You had a very enthusiastic question to ask us. What world do you live in? What world do you want to live in? That got my attention. I love the way that you stood up and you used gestures. In Zoom, most of us just sit down and we don't use our hands, and you got up and really used some body language. I love that. You had some great eye contact. And I love it when you got to the question about imposter syndrome. That got my attention because I've heard of imposter syndrome and I wasn't quite sure what it meant, but it totally makes sense. We're afraid to do something because we haven't done that before. And so you brought up that Toastmasters is a place where you can try things out. And so you won't be an imposter because you've done it once you've done it in Toastmasters. I love that. There was a little problem with the sharing the screen. That can just take some practice. And a little kind of went over time a little bit, something around 18 minutes. But I love the way you went through the before assessment and after assessment. That is a true vice president of education. You can't get credit to your speech unless you do the before assessment and the after assessment. I used to be a vice president of education, so I totally relate to that. So great job. Really enjoyed that. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Our second speaker was Michelle, I do believe. And Michelle's evaluator is, what was it, Clay?
Thank you, Mr. Toast, or Mr. General Evaluator, Mr. Toastmaster. Michelle, I really, really enjoyed your speech. I really enjoyed the way you blasted into it, even without a proper introduction. That took guts, and I liked it. Your vocal variety seems to be a natural gift. You use it as a fluency that that I don't think you learned it here. I have a feeling you learned it before you got here, but it was very, very impressive and very good. Your use of volume from loud to soft is something a lot of folks don't use, and it was very effective. Louder voice gets the attention. Softer voice forces people to pay attention and listen. You had good eye contact. You look right into the camera, which is the simulacrum of eye contact in this environment. And you also gave us hand movements, which was natural and within the confines of the camera movement. I liked your visualizations, the way you used word pictures to build an idea of what you were talking about. I like the way you used the computer analogy. What are you downloading? And to take a lot of that and put it in the trash bin and empty it. That was very well done. And it gave us a way to visualize what you were talking about. You had really good pacing. your vocal delivery wasn't just loud to soft, but you knew where to go rapidly into a few words, and then again, you slowed it down. The rapid speech grabbed the attention of the listeners, and the slower delivery connected with the listeners. What else did I have written down? I had some notes here I'm going by. You connected your message to the audience well. To improve, the only thing I would suggest is possibly standing up. I know it's so easy to sit down like I am right now in front of the camera, but for a speech, I think being bold enough to stand in front of that camera by yourself in your own room is the best practice for when you do it in front of a live audience. And also it loosens up the whole body for your delivery. Beyond that, I would also want to comment that this sounds like it could be a contest quality speech. And I think I'm maybe getting a preview of what you're preparing there. Keep working on it with your mentor. And I think you've really got something there. I put my number in there and I got your number. We'll talk further about the speech contest coming up and what you want to do with that. But other than that, I think it was a really good speech. You're off to a great start. Really appreciated the message. Thank you.
Appreciate your evaluation because I am competing this weekend in a national speak off and it is on Zoom. And thank you for that about standing up. I will do that. Thank you.
Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay, onward, our next evaluator of Hank's speech is going to be the one and the only Michelle Waufle. Take it away, Michelle.
Sorry, I accidentally put myself on mute. I didn't realize I did that. Mr. Hank Cartwright, I get to evaluate you again. Wonderful. I really, really enjoy the way that you have metamorphosized through this speech because I've heard it a few times now and how you have added some things this time around that you haven't done in the past. I'm going to encourage you to do more of the stopping and taking a breath in between. You're really great at your vocal variety. You've really improved bringing things up and bringing things down. I love your body language. I love how you're washing the hands and you're up to here with everything. You're really getting into that. What was very unique this evening and where I feel like you really kind of brought us in is when you were talking about the different forms of leadership and how that impact you. And I'm trying to find the timer on here. I apologize. How that really impacted you to be able to work with your team and be more involved with that because you took us from the emergency room aspect of things into a whole different light into the storytelling, which was really great with the type of speech that you were doing. You were very on point with that, and that was great. The way you brought that in, I really, really like that. With your eye contact, you're looking, I would maybe look around a little bit, maybe even move your head around a little bit so it seems like you're speaking to everyone instead of just directly at the camera. And I know that's kind of difficult when we are doing the Zoom, but maybe something you could try out a little bit more. And as far as the ums and ahs that you had brought into that, that is a really good time to just sit back and just, because when you take a breath, you bring people in because they're going to wait for what you're going to say next. and it would just help kind of stop in between, and it helps us avoid the ums and the ahs in between when we just stop to take a breath. And it is something you have to practice. We all have to practice it because it is definitely why we are all here at Toastmasters. I really enjoyed your speech. I'm seeing how you're growing with it and getting more involved with different aspects of what went on. And again, for something that is so incredibly a hardcore moment in people's life, you bring it to where we don't feel that while we're listening to you. And I think that is a really unique, special gift, that you are not bringing us down into the trenches of was really actually happening, but being able to share with us what went on without bringing us down. And I really, really like that about your speech. Thank you so much. And back to you, Mr. General Evaluator Toastmaster.
Well, let me apologize for confusing my roles, but we're almost finished. But we do have a joke master, and maybe he can tell us what he thought about the meeting too as general evaluator. Mike.
Thank you.
Did somebody say joke master?
Yes, yes, sir.
Well, you know, last week I was talking a little bit about the ways that I get exercise. My wife complains I don't get enough exercise, and I tell her I get lots of exercise. Jump on the bandwagon, make mountains out of molehills, pick up the pieces. Well, I heard a great way to get exercise this week. There was a guy that went over to Home Depot and got himself a concrete block. He took it back, put it in his backyard, walked around it a few times. And his wife asked him, "What'd you do for exercise today?" He says, "I walked around the block 5 times.
Okay,
That's funny.
I can appreciate that. Okay, Mike, thank you very much for that. What did you think about the meeting tonight, Mike?
I really enjoyed our meeting, and I was glad that we had a lot of guests. Solomon, I was so glad you could make it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and all our other guests. Alex, I'd love to send you those timer things if you want to send me your email address.
Thank you.
And put it in the chat for me. And let's see. I do have a timers report. How about that? So our first speaker, 18 minutes and 58 seconds. Our second speaker, 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Well within the time limit. Very good. And our third speaker, 7 minutes and 23 seconds, within the time limit. Good job. Our table topic speaker, Alex, 1 minute, 39 seconds. Huang, so nice to hear from you, 1 minute, 50 seconds. And Solomon, 2 minutes, 24 seconds. Our evaluations, my evaluation was 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Clay was 3 minutes, 15 seconds, and Michelle was 2 minutes, 59 seconds. My overall evaluation of the meeting was, it was great. And we had 2 people that used the word stretch, Cynthia and Alex. Good job. Back to you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Mike, for that. I think that's all the business that we're going to address this evening. So have all of our guests had a chance to say something?
Ashiraj say something himself. He wasn't able to participate in the table topics, so he would like to introduce himself, where you're calling in from, and why you came to this call today. Sashiraj, are you available? There we go.
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, I joined this meeting today because I was free and I'm in my office, but still I got some time to join you all. So I'll speaking after 2 or 3 months because I had gone through some surgery. Now I am overcome from that surgery. I'm okay, fit and healthy. Let me introduce myself. My name is Shashiraj and I'm from India. I'm a voice and accent trainer and I'm also a model. I'm also working in government department. So this is my short introduction. I would like to speak something about the question which is asked by Cynthia Stott. The question about the vision, your vision for this year, and a stretch goal. I would be happy to answer this question that the vision for this year is, of course, the health is important. I have to take care of my health. Because if I'm healthy, I can travel, I can speak with energy, and I can interact. I can do all the work. I can sustain my family. I can sustain myself. I can manage money as well. So this is the first priority, paying attention on my health. And the second thing is that I have to do some multiple work for making more money. Because this time money is important. Right. So by which we can do more and more things, we can enjoy more life. So this is the important thing. So and for learning, and I would like to say one more thing that as we know that we have been learning a lot. Okay. So we have to learn multiple things from the multiple people who are skillful. So if we learn something from experienced people like from you guys, we have to apply all those things in our life as well, so that we can improve more and more. So this is the thing which I wanted to share with you all people in very short, which I just completed myself. Thank you very much, Cynthia, for giving me a chance to speak in front of you all people. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sashiraj. And maybe Dr. Huang wants to say something briefly.
So thank you. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak here. So long time no see, Sasiraj. So I'm happy to see you here and everyone as well. So I'm so happy and excited to be here today to listen to all of you. Very interesting sharing, honestly, and hopefully all of you here will stay safe, healthy, and happy all the time. And I would love to join your meeting more and more in the future. Thank you.
Wonderful. And Dr. Wade, did you want to call on Solomon and Alex?
Are they still here? I can't really see my screen very well.
Solomon's here. Solomon, would you like to share how you enjoyed the meeting, or if you enjoyed the meeting? We would love to hear from you. And then maybe Alex. Maybe Solomon's away from. Oh, there's Solomon. Hi,
I
Solomon.
had a great time on the meeting. I enjoyed getting to know all of you and learning more about your individual journeys, listening to the talks. Overall, good meeting. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to next week.
Wonderful. Same time, same bat channel, right?
Sounds good.
And Alex?
Yeah, no, I love the meeting. It's nice to hear some different people, different voices. It's interesting to hear some different ways of evaluating, which I picked up a couple of tips about the vocal variety, bringing people in, bringing people out that Clay was talking about. I love the timer. I know that sounds like it doesn't seem like a big deal, but the timer is the bane of Toastmasters existence. Everybody hates it, but somebody's got to do it. So to see a timer like that, and Mike, I know you've been doing this for moments, And the fact that you found the slides and do it, I think it's great. Now, I mean that in a good way, because it's so much fun to see where you're at and know the numbers. I know that sounds like it's an incidental thing, but I'm just really happy. I'm just really sad that I couldn't hear Cassandra, but hopefully we'll see her on Monday. And I was glad that I got to sneak in.
Thank you, Alex.
And everybody, I did do the counter grammarian. If you want me to just give it to you really quickly, I can. So, Dr. Wade, I had a couple of uhs. For Mike, you were clean. For Clay, you were absolutely clean. You just had repeated one sentence once, and it was when you were fumbling to find what was happening. And I was thinking sometimes we can just tell an amazing story if we can't find what's online, because I'm sure you have a lot of us stories that we could learn from. Hank Cartwright, I've got 6. And for Alex was 3 ums and an RR. Cynthia, you were absolutely clean, but you repeated one sentence that was about excellence. Not a bad word to say twice. Dr. Hung, we did 8 ahs. And Solomon, you were clean. And that was it. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. I think you can close this out, Dr. Wade.
Okay, well, thank you very much for attending everyone. Tune in for our next session in exactly 1 week, same time, same station. And we'll see you then. Have a good evening and be safe and be well.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for all the guests. It's great to meet all of you. Thanks for being here tonight. Join us.
Great. And Clay, we do need to decide on a date. Dr. Wade, did we have a date that was solid? We were thinking about possibly joining if we didn't have that many evaluation contestants. We might join with East Bay Toastmasters. I know that Kawaza was working on that, but he is under the weather and last week and this week. And I'm not sure when. I think we're having 4 contestants, possibly 5, Clay, if you want to be competing. We're going to have Hank is competing. Michelle is competing. Wade, I think you were competing in Kawaza.
Well, since we have so many computers, I think I'll just drop out of that and give the newer members a chance to compete.
Okay.
So that's for the speech contest. And
then the evaluation contest, were you going to be participating in that, Wade, Dr. Wade?